Hi there, this video's title isn't a joke. I did actually end up getting cancer, Burkitt lymphoma to be exact. There's a scar to prove it, and a video of my bald head eating pasta. Would show you more, but they're a bit depressing. Since I had Burkitt lymphoma, it meant that I was on a higher concentration of chemo. And for those who know what chemo does to a person, you can see how bad of an idea this was. But my only reasonable excuse was I was locked inside for 3 months. And I had nothing better to do, so I decided to make a game. Looking back on that decision now, it wasn't the best thing to do. I'd recommend for any future idiots like myself, don't do this, just recover, just listen to your doctor. Starting things off, I first needed to choose what type of game I wanted, which I went with 2D, because 3D, I had some bad experiences in the past. Thanks VR, you ruined that for me. So since I was going with 2D, I then needed to make sure what type of game I wanted. And I made a mental note to myself that this game shouldn't take too long to make. Luckily, ChatGPT had been released a couple months before I found out about my cancer, which is good because it meant that I had a bit of practice with the old. So in a matter of about 15 minutes, I was able to come up with a game idea. Pretty much just going left to right. Wonder where that game idea came from. Guess we'll never know. So to start things off, I just have to start with all the boring stuff, like creating a new project, importing in an empty game object, yada yada yada. And I've got a functioning grid system. One slight issue though, you see this simple grid? Yeah, well this simple grid, it's fine in a small quantity, but when I ramp the size up, my computer just drops to its knees, completely destroying any frames that are produced. Which we don't want, since we're making a game, not a slideshow. Luckily, there was a simple fix. All I needed to do was make it so my computer stopped doing thousands of calculations every frame, and instead, just do it once. Okay, future developers, I'd recommend doing some research before you make a feature for your game. Reason being, you know that grid feature that I was talking about? Yeah, so that took me about 2 weeks to make. Okay, it looks stupid, but remember, chemo brain. And I found out 2 weeks later that Unity has a built-in grid system, which is 1, very performant, and 2, very easy to set up. Oh well, blame the chemo brain. Anyway, enough yapping about the boring shit. Here's the real reason you're here. As I said before, the gameplay isn't anything special. It's just you going left to right, which is child's play. Which is perfect, because that's where the money can be made. Nah, I'm just messing with you. Not gonna waste your time with microtransaction bullshit. Trust me, I hate that shit just as much as you. Instead, the game has a small bit of character customization for those who want to play the game more than once, which were all made by yours truly. Sorry about the switch in audio, my computer died just before, so I'm gonna have to switch over to my phone. Will admit, I was gonna make it so you could choose the actual, like, gradient colors for the game, and also the actual environment, but, you know, instead, I gave up on that halfway through, and instead, just gave you guys a banana. Reason being, potassium. Oh yeah, and since we're on the topic of customization, I wanna have a really shit transition to... I gotta say, the thing that took the longest out of this whole project was the UI of the game. Like, you would think just having a bit of buttons scattered across the screen with a bit of design would be easy, right? You're wrong. This part of the game development process was just painful. From trying to get the design right with multiple iterations, to trying to get the UI working across multiple devices, which in the end, I just gave up with, because no matter how hard I tried, it just got worse and worse. Plus, I was on my last round of chemo, which meant I was at peak chemo brain stupidity, which meant that most of my code was just pure spaghetti, making things exponentially harder for me even after I was done with chemo. So if you come across any problems with the UI, I'm sorry, but you're by yourself. I ain't going back and fixing stuff. That is just pain. And so was this video. Hello, future chops, as you can tell by the hair, nothing's changed for you of course, but it has changed for me. I took so long making this video that most of my footage ended up getting corrupted, which was fun, but it should explain the trashiness of this video. So, as we know, the gameplay is this. Very exciting, I know. But I was able to improve on it. What do I mean by that? Well, originally the game felt clunky and unresponsive, which gets annoying when you try to play the game, which I was told many times over many playtests. Remember kids, playtesting helps. So, how does one make input not feel like shit exactly? Well, Cody time. Okay, that was a lie. I just like talking about Cody time because of its origins. All I did was just store inputs for the tiles after. It's pretty basic. Anyway, the game feels responsive now, which is great, but there was still one issue that was annoying me. I dislike games that only have one control scheme. What do I mean by that? Well, let me explain in layman's terms. So instead of just having this for the input, we have all of these.
Please use them. I really disliked what. Please use them. I really dislike reading Please use them. I really dislike reading Unity's input documentation.
I'm saying it perfectly, but it just doesn't sound right.
Please use them. I disliked reading Unity's documentation for input. It was just painful.
Right. I'm gonna talk about the music real quick. All of the tracks were made by my mate WDFQ. He's the reason why this game actually has personality in the first place. I'll chuck his channel down in the description. If you've got any free time and you like electronic music, please check his music out. He deserves all the recognition he can get. As mentioned before, this game has customization. Not as much as I wanted, but it's still there. But how does one gain the ability to actually obtain these skins, avatars, or whatever you're gonna call them? Well, all you need to do is jump. Each jump you do, you gain a coin. The faster and further you go, the more coins you get. But the game's limited to 50 tiles. Well, I have a solution for you. If you had a keen eye, you might have noticed there is a button within the menu that says height. Pretty self-explanatory. If you don't understand though, I fear for your life. But for those who understand what I'm talking about, which is great, I've added in a high score system, which means that you can go fast and compare with friends, so good luck and enjoy. Now this may be a very niche thing to do, but for people that hate being interrupted when they win or fail a game, I've got you sorted. When you look in the settings, you'll see a button called Q Reset. When enabled, it will pretty much skip the UI altogether and just shoot you back right to the start of the game. Quick and easy. Now, I'm pretty much done talking about the game, but there will be a few people that'll say this game needs more. And for those people, yeah, I 100% agree with you. But I'm not going to go back and recode everything. When I was on chemo, I decided that I was going to hardcode the generation code and also the player controller, which I'm not going to deal with. So instead, here's a good quote that I found on the internet that explains my situation perfectly. I don't really want to leave on a negative note for this video, so I'm just going to say this. For the patients, keep fighting. Cancer's a bitch. You're gonna survive. Trust me, you're gonna do great. And for the programmers, I'm switching to open source because Unity, they're pieces of shit.